Hey friends, Jewel back with another super cool astrology video, and I wanted to address the topic of obsession today and what that looks like. What are some of the signs that you may be obsessed and under the impression that it is something else? So obsession is very much, an addiction. And love, when it becomes an obsession, is also very much an addiction. It is something that can take an unhealthy focus in our life. And so when we are obsessed, it is, very much a Pluto 8th house thing and a Neptune 12th house type of deal that's going on. Sometimes, it'll be more one or the other energy. A lot of times it's going to be a combination of both. And so when we are in a position where we are having some feelings of obsession about someone, there's going to be a lot of obsessive thoughts. You're not going to be able to stop thinking about him or her. It's always going to be there. They're always going to be in your mind. There's always going to be, the chance to daydream, the chance to go off in a fantasy world. There's always going to be present in your thoughts. Your focus is very much on getting with him or her. And it's very common to think that you see them a lot, everywhere you go. You can see them here, see them there, and for a split second you think it's them, and very, very common. Reading every post, scouring social media for all information that they may have either in the past or currently put out there about themselves or what's going on in their lives, spying on them. Even with Google Earth, driving by their house either physically or cyber driving by their house also counts. Paying a lot of attention to their comings and goings and their habits and who they're associating with. The jealousy that comes up, the feelings of jealousy regarding somebody else that may be in their life, another partner, somebody else that they may be involved with. Those feelings are typically very extreme. The jealousy, and very hateful. We can have some really nasty fantasies about what we would like to do with the other person that the person that we are obsessed with may have in their lives. Imagining them to be very awesome, an idealized image is really common because a lot of times we don't know them. There's different types or levels or situations of obsession, and many times we are not in a relationship with this person. We are wanting to be in a relationship with them, but we may not know very much about them at all, and still have all these feelings about them and these thoughts about them. So another one is that even though we're not in a relationship, we're already planning a forever with him or her, naming the children, even though they may not be aware of us or may not be reciprocating our feelings or may not be knowing that we even exist. Realizing that the person that we are having these intense feelings for may have some undesirable qualities, incompatible qualities, habits or values that we may not find desirable or tolerable with anybody else, but we just dismiss that as unimportant. The state that we're in, the feelings, the state of being that we are in is another good clue as to whether or not you're in a state of obsession, because you will feel very stressed and urgent. There's a feeling of urgency that's associated with this. And that's very much related to the cause of what this is, which is needs. And we'll get to that in a second here. A desperate hope that they will give you what you need from them is another big thought form that we have going on. A lot of times when we're obsessed, we are not listening to the input of others that can see the situation clearly and can understand from their point of view what is going on with us. We are not willing to acknowledge that or to give that any amount of credence. A big one when we are in a state of obsession is becoming very irrational, very defensive when hearing the suggestion that what we are feeling or experiencing may not be true love and may in fact be something else, possibly an obsession. This is one that will really make people strike out, and they can get very ugly when they are in this frame of mind and you try to pull them out of it with some amount of being rational. They don't want to hear that because they are in an irrational state. And, obsession really stems from the need for the other person to validate us, to see us. And when we're obsessed, that needy energy, it tangles around the neck of the one that we think that we are in love with and puts them in a position where it causes them to flee. Because they pick up on that undercurrent of need, and it places this tremendous pressure upon somebody, and they want to escape our energy and our presence when we are in this frame of mind. So, they intuitively know that we are going to be a drain on them in some way. And we are very much afraid of the loss of the feelings that they have triggered in us. And so we want to cling to that and want more of that, want them to return what we think they have started. So when we have a lot of Neptune in us and Pluto as well, or one or the other, we can either be, more prone to codependency with Neptune or love addiction with Pluto. And actually love addiction would fall under Neptune as well. And when we're in this frame of mind, when we have more energy in us that can put us on a course where we are perceiving the world through the eyes of a codependent or a love addict, we very much target people to be our audience when we are thinking this way. We can act seductive, willing, flirty. We will do anything to gain the interest of the person that we have decided is the one that we are going to have return our affections. And we think that the other person is going to make us feel worthy. Because underneath Pluto and Neptune is shame and a sense of not enough. Worth problems are always going to be in the mix here when we have an unhealthy obsession going on. And, their attention, we think, is going to bring us the validation that we are missing. And, you know, it's worth that's always underneath it all. Pluto in the 8th house are very much where we find the worth that we believe others have. Neptune robs of worth and of stability and of a sense of solidity. So when we have these energies strong within us, we tend to act out in that fashion. And so if the target, the person that we have decided is not going to return our affections or puts us in a position where they, you know, really make it clear that this ain't going down or they're not going to go for this. If we can't get what we feel we need from them, it's very common for obsessed people to then turn and punish the person that they have been obsessed with. Because we go from pleasing to punishing. And because there's an expectation of having one's feelings returned when we are the obsessor. And just because, you know, we have decided that this is the person that I need to see me. This is the person I need to validate me. And it's, you know, very much, you know, a mindset that, you know, I've decided it will be you who gives me what I need because I have decided that it will be you. The other person isn't even really taken into account at all. Not even really, like not at all. And, you know, even if you're married, taken, not interested, I am going to persist because I know that we're meant to be. And, you know, even better if you're taken and we can't be together because, you know, then I can pry you from your current attachments. That just proves to me all the more how desirable and worthy and important I am. So there's a lot of selfish thinking that accompanies an obsession, an unhealthy obsession, because it's really based on need and not love. It's coming from a place of needing to be healed because the feelings that the other person stirs in us, the intensity, the addiction, is bringing you back into contact with parts of the self that you have previously disassociated from, sorry. And we label those traits as ones that, you know, we love in the other, that we see in the other. And we're falling in love with ourselves. And we are then abandoning ourselves to love this other. And it's really just about these unhealed wounds. If we can validate those, if we can validate our own selves, if we can come into contact with what we have previously disassociated from, what we have hidden, what we have rejected, this is what brings us into a state of wholeness where the focus is on us and our life becomes about us instead of chasing after this, you know, this other person. If they would just love us, you know, we would feel happy again. You know, we could go on or we could whatever. You have all the tools that you need. They are not the issue. Getting them to love you is not the issue. Work on your own stuff. And that's what we do in sessions, is we get down to what is it within you that is not working? What is it within you that needs to be healed? What is it that needs to be brought up and seen? How can you connect in a real way with people in relationships that are real and that are reciprocal and that are not painful and that do not put you in a position of clinging or hoping or wishing? How do we get you out of the rut of non-self-validation and get you into a place of self-love and healing and wholeness. So ultimately, obsessions are a great window into what it is we need to love in our own selves. And when we can get down to the work that we need to do, that really gets us into a place where they have done us a great service, the other person. Yes, they were important. Maybe they weren't that perfect other that we thought they were, but they were one of the key figures in getting us to a place of health, or to a place of wholeness, or to a place of happiness. And those are the most significant relationships of our lives. And those are soulmates, people that get us growing, get us going towards something greater, towards hooking us into our highest version of ourselves. Those are the people that, when we are on the other side, we will come to understand that we had the greatest bonds and previous soul contracts with. So I hope this was helpful. If you have more questions or need more information about obsession, or about Pluto or Plutonic relationships, I have a lot of other videos on this same playlist, including some that address obsession in other ways, and I have one that specifically gives information about how to move on from an obsession. So that might be one that you maybe want to click onto next if you just found this series. And you can find me on the internet at truthinaspectastrology.com. Yes, I do private consultation. You can find me on Facebook at Truth in Aspect Astrology. And I am mainly a relationship and intimacy astrologer, but I do all types of chart readings under the sun. And I will be back super soon with more super cool videos. Bye-bye.